We are in the middle of Amish country in the beautiful state of Pennsylvania. Of course, if a rail fan happens to be in the state, a mandatory stop is the Strasburg Railroad. In today's video, we'll be following along an average trip with steam engine number 90, along with some bonus clips of Day Out with Thomas. This is the Strasburg Railroad, steam through Amish country. On 301 Gap Road, tourists are greeted by the pristine station where you climb aboard a rail experience that you will never forget. The station offers multiple gift shops, including one completely devoted to Thomas the Tank Engine merchandise. Over towards the locomotive shop, steam locomotive number 90 is being prepared for the busy day. The crew of 90 makes last-minute inspections and loads coal into her tender. Number 90 is not the only steam locomotive being prepped for the busy day. Today happens to be Day Out with Thomas at Strasburg. We see crew members cleaning off Thomas before its many trips down the rails. We'll get back to Day Out with Thomas later on in this video. After the final preparations are made, 90 eases into the station to attach to its train and pick up the awaiting passengers. The passengers are aboard and the trip through Amish fields can begin. With the Strasburg station close by, we set up our cameras by the red Caboose Motel. The motel has a large amount of rooms inside cabooses that are all painted in different paint schemes for different railways. The red Caboose also offers meals that do not disappoint. Due to not having a Y or a turntable, number 90 is required to pull the outbound trip tender first. Strasburg dates all the way back to 1832. Although it had both passenger and freight service, the primary focus for the line was its freight interchange with the Pennsylvania. After the Second World War, the highway transportation system had greatly improved across the United States. Unfortunately, this would greatly reduce the need for the short line. Many severe storms damaged a large portion of the track in 1957, and the operators of Strasburg felt as if it wasn't worth the expenses to repair the line. With the abandonment of Strasburg almost certain, two men known as Henry Long and Donald Halleck gathered several rail enthusiasts in an effort to save Strasburg. The efforts proved to be worthwhile, and the 4.5-mile stretch of track was preserved. After the track was prepared, focus would move to acquiring equipment to run on the rails. The men gathered vintage locomotives and passenger cars from all over North America. Towards the end of the 1950s, Strasburg would be pulling its first passenger trains for tourists, and the rest is well known. To this day, Strasburg delivers a vintage railway experience. Next up is one of my personal favorite moments along the trip. At the Carpenter's Crossing, the train stops for a short moment to show off the well-known ghost whistle. Of course, this quote-unquote ghost is just the echo thanks to the formation of the Pennsylvania terrain, but it is still very neat to hear. We arrived to the end of Strasburg's line at the interchange that Strasburg shares with Norfolk Southern. The interchange is along the Amtrak Keystone Corridor. You can sometimes find Strasburg locomotives hauling freight back to the depot where the trucks haul the cargo from there. Here we see Strasburg's NW2 8618 pulling a revenue freight train back to the depot with cargo dropped off by Norfolk Southern. Resuming back to the passenger trip, now number 90 must detach from the train and make its way to the opposite side for the return trip. Number 90 was built in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in the June of 1924. With a 210-0 wheel configuration, 90 once pulled trains for the Great Western Railway in Colorado. It often hauled large loads of sugar beets. Compared to the Great Western's 280s, the 90 was larger and much more powerful. In 1967, 90 was purchased by Strasburg. Once again, 90 would be the most powerful steam locomotive in a railway's engine roster. Ever since, 90 has become the star of Strasburg and an iconic symbol of railway history in the United States. With 90 being coupled to the opposite side of the train, the return trip can begin. By the Red Caboose Motel, there is an old grain silo that has been transformed into an observation deck to see the trains in a bird's eye view. Here we see our train arriving back into the station on its last trip for the day. After the passengers disembark the train and begin to browse the gift shops, Nany disconnects from the cut of passenger cars and makes its way to the locomotive shops. Another day is complete on the Strasburg Railway. Along with the standard trip that we just overviewed, a few times a year Strasburg offers a very popular special event known as Day Out with Thomas. Children of all ages can ride behind both Thomas and Percy, two of the very useful engines of Sodor Island. It just so happens that Strasburg's Thomas is the only one in the US that actually operates. No diesel is needed to push on the other end. I'd like to thank all of you for watching this video of the Strasburg Railroad. This has been on my bucket list for many years now and I can finally check it off the list. If you'd like to know more details on Strasburg, I'll leave their website linked down in the description below. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, thanks for watching.